Well, I'm going to try to update everybody for what's happened here at SC Cares. First off, here are all the wolves in their enclosure, or at least half of it, and we're just so grateful they're okay. And everybody seems to have survived. I don't know how this video is going to work. I'm not very good at it, but I'm going to do the best I can. We've had about a dozen trees come down. Thankfully, no animals were injured from the trees, and no animals got out or escaped. The first tree that came down was this one in the wolf compound, and came down over the fence, the perimeter, the containment fence and the barrier fence, and went into the horse paddock. And we've got some wonderful people out here helping us cut it apart so that we can try to get things back to normal. Unfortunately, we did not put those two boards up until the next day, and that was after one of the horses got out and tried to step through the wire over there and got hung up in the wire. So the one injury that we did have was our fault, that we just didn't think that they would try to go through there. I broke this off, pulled that fence up. This tree broke off and fell over. We're going around it. Just cut off the corner of the barn there. This area, we had some tin pulled up on the roof, and sadly that one big spot's where the food and the hay are stored, but so far nothing's gotten too wet. When this one came down, it went through Kumar's lot, and thankfully Kumar stayed in his area. I'm climbing a fence, so hold on just a second. And so he stayed in, and we were able to cut that up real quick and put some boards up for him. Yeah, just nicked that. So let's see, this is probably some of the worst area. The back side of the wolf compound. 2 large pine trees came down and took out the barrier, containment fence, shift area, and thankfully the 3 trees that fell in the wolf compound were all on this side, so we were able to contain the wolves on the front half of their enclosure. And thankfully we leave that divider fence in there, not necessarily for these types of things, but if we need to go in and work, we can block them off and safely do what needs to be done. So the sad part for these guys, I'm sure they were terrified. These are the Dixies, and the tree came down, went over their fence, and this high tensile wildlife fence is wonderful, but once it is squished like this and mashed down, there's no way to straighten it out. So all this is going to have to be rebuilt. Their little shelter that they go under is completely demolished. Sadly, it ripped up the other side as well. And Skip and I were out here in the winds trying to keep the Dixies in, and they were back in that back corner back there, so they were pretty scared anyway, and they weren't trying to get out, and we were worried about that being smashed. And there was a tree over it at the time with branches, and then I happened to come over to this side and look, and it actually pulled the beam with concrete out of the ground, and there were these 2 huge openings right at the ground in this corner that they could have just run straight out, and they did not. So I'm very thankful for that. And I know it sounds anthropomorphic, but I like to think that they're happy here and they like it. Hey Sage, you like it, buddy? So that's why nobody tried to leave. Let's see, our, of course, barrier fence throughout the wolf area is pulled apart. Let's see, this is Ghosts and Stars lot, the wolf hybrids that are high content wolf. And they had a tree come down as well. Took out the cantilever. Thankfully we had placed that extra chain panel we had in there dividing them when we were working in that area, we put it in, I guess the universe led us to put it in that spot because that's what held up that fence and kept Ghost from getting out. I don't know if Star would have attempted it, but thankfully I think Ghost is pretty happy with Star, so if she stayed, he probably would stay. He's back there. Barkley, the hound that has a bite history that can't go in the house, had a tree come down in his lot, and he was terrified, of course, like all the animals. But he has now made this tree a little play area. He goes underneath it and plays around in the limbs and the leaves. So, and it's not bearing weight on the fence. So we're just going to leave that for now. When it dies off, we'll clean it up. It's not a priority. Let's see. Now, since we have fence down at the wolf compound back there, we have to keep Loki, the new horse resident, in this area because she's trying to get into the wolf compound. They see all that greenery in there and they think it's something great to eat, so she's trying to get in. Cairo, we've patched up his fence as best we can for now. This is all going to have to be replaced. We're going to need 4x4s, 6x6s, 2x4s, and then we've got, thankfully we do have some more fencing left, and I know it's probably very hard to see from here, but this is the only perimeter fence area that was penetrated. So thankfully we've had no one leave the property. And this was actually just the top of one of the pine trees. It wasn't even the whole tree, thankfully, but the top came down, and of course it smashed that fence up pretty well. And there's another tree that's back in the... Yes, Daisy, I see you, sweetheart. There's a tree that fell across Norman's area, but it's actually in the goats. We'll go around to the other side. Daisy, are you talking? You're so pretty. You're so pretty. They were all so scared. I felt so bad for them. I think I said I'm sorry about 5,000 times that day. That I hate they were having to go through this, as we all were. So, anyway. So Loki's out in this section for now because she is mischievous and she will attempt to walk across the fence, which will leave her in the same position that, of course, Sassy's in. Sassy got 3 of her 4 legs hung in the fence and then damaged her eye and has an ulcer on her eye. Let's see. Small goats. Had that tree come down, and thankfully no fences were taken out. It's kind of leaning there. It's not a priority at this moment, but hopefully we'll be able to get things back to normal. Yes, Wilbur, I see you, buddy. By wondrous works, Mayflower stayed intact. Her fences are up and intact. Now moving to the deer compound. And this is one of that we've called some tree people to come help us because see if I can get a good sight on it. There is a tree that is uprooted and is only standing, let me go back to this other side, because it is leaning on those trees. So our concern is if something knocking it off the tree and it falling, it's going to take out the deer fence and Mayflower's fence. So we need to get that adjusted, fixed, something. And the poor deer lost their shake cloth. That, of course, pulled down. They don't seem to be too bothered by it. The front pigs didn't have any damage to speak of. Most of them were out of their house at times, I guess, because the sounds of things falling on the roof was kind of scary, I'm sure. We're lucky we had no damage to the hut. Everything out here, as far as the hut is concerned, except we're still without power, is fine. So far, we're getting there. We're making some progress. This is in the hybrids lot. And once again, we got really lucky. Skip and I were out here. We just kept I tried to stay safe. Skip just seemed to want to stand outside in that 90-mile-an-hour wind we were getting to keep a check on everybody. But we saw this tree starting to pull up, so Skip ran in to get the hybrids out, got them over in the Sally Port, and as the tree just kind of laid itself down over the fence, and thankfully did not take out their house or injure any of them. So far we're okay. It's going to be a long time to rebuild. Say hey, Skip.
Hey, Skip.
Hey, Skip. Thank you guys for caring.